Okay.
First thing is I had a great day.
Wonderful.
We did library today.
Okay, hold on. I've got a, that's,
Second thing. You want to do the meeting?
I am on a Zoom meeting, but I don't know. I think I'm the only one here right now.
So it's not gonna be to a while, so I can be on here.
Good. What are you doing? Hello. Silence.
Well, they're both muted. What do you?
They're muted.
in
They're
the
talking.
bathroom,
They're
they're
talking.
running across the room.
They're painting rooms.
Somebody's marking the territory.
They're marking territories.
And complete.
Chantel and I under one-on-one. She's like, I am never gonna live that down.
You know, there's a lot of things that you could be known for. That one's kind of, I don't know, that one seems pretty innocent.
I think that one's a winner.
Yeah.
In all honesty,
Yeah,
it's,
it's not like you're known for, letting a client go or missing an appointment that causes that client to sign with another agent in your office. That'd be a terrible thing to be known for.
oh my God. Molly, I bet you didn't even hear that story, did you?
No.
Okay, so Shantia's dog was, we were talking about like what's a win, right? And she's like, my win is that my dog has been marking all over the house and I put this doggy diaper on him and he, like 2 nights, he woke up, I woke up this morning and his diaper was dry.
Way to go, buddy.
Missing a beat. Jason goes. Well, you just say it. Say it how you
I
said
don't
it.
know how I said it. That was a long time ago.
I can't remember now.
I have not had the same success with myself. I don't know.
It's something about where you live. I've lived at my house for 16 years and I have not been able to stop marking.
All over the place. It's really funny when you mention that, because when I was probably 20 years ago, maybe even longer, somebody said, I was talking about buying my first house, and what do you want to have in a house? And I said, the honest thing I want most in my house ultimately would have been a deck where I could mark off the back. I could like go onto the deck and if you will, mark, and no one would be disturbed. Like if I could have a house that no one was behind me or see what I was, that would be it. That would be
the weirdest request ever.
I don't, well, I mean, in the end, my thought was, I don't know that I'd ever do that. I just want to know that I could, and it would not disturb another soul.
You could do that at your house, couldn't you, Molly? Don't you live like in
I
the
was
middle?
gonna say that was part of what I was looking for. I wanted to be able to be nude outdoors and no one would know it.
Right. I mean, not that you necessarily would or wouldn't, but that it's an option, that it's
It's
on the table.
It's on the table. It's not off the table. It is definitely on the table.
Mark, my daughter has been known to mark all over the lawn in summer, it's just it's like a
See?
free range chicken.
Our water bills are so much less because she's marking the entire yard.
Water bills, you get wells. You don't even have a water bill.
Well.
Wow. Oh my God. Okay, so let's talk about wins. Who wants to go first? Jason looks the other way.
I know that's what everybody's supposed to do.
I'll go.
You don't
because,
make eye
you know,
contact, you can't pick me.
we talked about in one of these coachings, the elevator speech or pitch, and then we talked about it on our one-on-one. So I was actually able to get it done, and I felt really good about it. I feel I've been rereading it, and I feel like it's good for me. So that's my win. I was able to put it together. Didn't take too much time, but it has what I needed to have in it for people to want to ask more.
Okay, and you're prepared, so you can
Yeah.
share it.
Yeah, I'm prepared to share.
So at her one-on-one, she's like, yeah, I like it better when we're prepared, because the last time you just were like, we're doing this. Right. So yes, you are prepared. And Molly, are you prepared? Do you have an elevator speech that you share with people, like when you meet them about real estate or whatever it is you want them to know?
I had one and I still have one, but like, as I think we talked about months ago, it's all the different variations and being able to mold it to be 1,000 different ways I need to be able to say it to either the customer or their child, or is it another business, or so I've got like the main kind of concept, but about serving seniors through real estate, and I've actually started in certain areas, like almost just dropping off the real estate. Like I serve seniors. One of the ways is through real estate, and the other is through concierge services, and it feels like it continually evolves. Like I keep finding something that I think is working, and then I'm realizing people are not understanding what I'm saying. Because after I'll say that, and then they'll be like, "So who would do who's the real estate agent then?" Or something like,
Bob.
So
Bob.
who's the real
I
estate?
know some people, or me, whichever.
But that is kind of the idea, right? You want them to start asking questions, so then you can kind of be like, well, you know what, let's set something up. Let's talk about it a little bit more in depth.
Right.
Perfect.
Let's find a time to meet. Sit down and
You've
FYI,
already met. You're in the elevator.
I'm the agent. FYI. Yeah.
You're in the elevator. You've already met.
Let's sit down and set up a time to talk.
The elevator's small. You got them trapped. They can't get out.
Right. Yeah, sometimes.
It's the time to go for it.
Yeah.
Sign here, or I'm not hitting the button.
Speaking of like elevator speech is what when I was saying, I was trying to finish something up for a client. It's basically like a written elevator speech because it's like a friend's mom, right? And she doesn't want to waste my time having a conversation. And so I said, well, first of all, conversation is never a waste of my time. But she still wanted like something to look at like ahead of time so that she could kind of get the ideas going, which was an interesting concept of like, how do you bring it up without giving too much,
Right.
without making it too scary, without using too many certain words, without giving away the goose, you know? so,
Right.
so like,
How would
okay.
we do this?
So I think I've got, I don't know, look, I'm gonna toss it out there, see if it's too much information, not enough, if it makes sense, if it's what they were looking for or not, but. So,
Do you want to practice right now?
the written one, I mean, it's like 3 pages long.
No, like your elevator.
Well, who are you? Who am I meeting?
Who am I? Who do you?
She's a teacher. Can't you tell?
There we go.
She's wearing flannel.
Perfect. Are we just kind of, we're just hanging out? We're just two ladies on a
Yeah.
elevator?
Elevator. We can
Okay.
totally be in an elevator. Okay.
Hi, I'm Molly. Who are you?
Oh, my name's Jessica.
Oh, hey, Jessica. What brings you to Las Vegas?
Oh, Las Vegas. Well, I had to get out of Minnesota because it was so cold. It
Oh my God,
snowed in
I'm in
April.
Minnesota too.
Oh my God. What?
Yeah. Oh my God. So where do you live? Like Twin Cities or like greater?
Yeah, I
Minnesota?
live in Apple Valley.
Oh my, I used to go to high school in Lakeville, so kind of nearby. So I totally know where you live. That's fun. What do you do?
I'm a teacher.
Great. What grade?
First, second, and third.
Oh, must be a new,
Montessori.
oh,
Yeah.
very interesting. It's one of those, it's a charter school then, or?
No, it's a public school, but it's Montessori. So yeah, it's
Oh,
interesting.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. Nice. Yeah, I have a third grader. I can't imagine her hanging out with first graders all day. I think she'd
Yeah.
rule.
Sometimes they revert, is what goes on there.
the
And then you have a
But,
classroom full of first graders that are older, and shouldn't be first grade, but
I take that back. I think I would prefer that because right now we're trying to go forward to about 9th, 10th grade.
right. All in one.
8 going on 20.
So, okay, now you keep going. Tell me about you.
Oh, well, you have to ask me. It's weird. I wouldn't just start talking about myself. Like,
Mhm.
you'd say, what do you do?
No one else does that, Jess. It is just you
Just
who
what?
suddenly starts talking about themselves.
Oh, well, that I do that. Yes.
That's just you.
Okay. What do you do?
I serve seniors.
Oh, what does that mean?
Well, I help seniors figure out the next chapter in their life. If they want to have a second home, if they want to right size, or if they are interested in joining a senior community, or if it's time to check out some of the continuum of care options available.
Wow. How long have you done that?
Oh, well, professionally, I've done it personally for about 5 years, but professionally, about a year. So it was
Cool.
personal experience that really brought that passion out in me. And I realized that through my own life, I've learned a lot of information that I figure some other people could benefit from. So it's really a work of passion for me.
Cool.
I like
Wow.
that. I do. I really
Yeah.
like that.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
It's really funny because I have this conversation. I belong to a number of different groups and organizations, as all of us do. And it's really funny, especially amongst dudes specifically. Hey, what do you do? Job, insert job.
Yeah.
And not even necessarily job, but employer specific. I work for Cargill. That's what you do? I mean, and then that's the kind of the conversation goes. I say that's what you do. That's you. You're a Cargill employee. Fantastic. And I tend to just walk away and they say, whoa. I mean, they try to haul you back because they want to tell you more at that point.
Wait, I screwed up.
But I really like that I serve seniors. I just, that opens this whole set of things where you go, I do want to know more. What does that even, What does that even mean? That's
Right?
amazing.
Thank you.
Serve them burgers,
Right.
You
It could be
serve-
1,000 things, but
Right?
yeah.
walkers.
This is
Yeah.
like people, that's all.
Arts.
All the carts at Walmart, right, that are running you over, just serving
The
up those.
ravens, sparrows. I don't
What?
know. They have a name.
They do?
Yeah, those little carts are like called sparrows or
I
ravens.
think it's a
or
lark,
Larks. That's crazy.
which don't confuse it with LARP.
No, don't do that.
Live action role play.
Not into that.
Not gonna do it.
No.
Can you do your elevator speech? You have one
I don't have one.
flushed out for,
I don't have one
Your
at
role?
all.
you don't?
No. What role is that?
You're tech trainer.
Nerd role?
Nerd role.
Sure. Hey, lady.
Hi.
That's a nice flannel you got there.
Well, thank you, sir.
I
This
don't
is
know.
going
There's a
really-
lot of snow.
This is going really well.
So what brings you to this fantastic office that we both seem to be stuck in waiting for the dentist?
Well,
Dentistry, I'd assume, but I mean, it's got to be more complex than that, right?
yeah. I'm here for the dentist.
Yeah, like a
Correct.
root canal, you got that thing
Yes.
going? Oh, been looking forward to that for months, haven't you?
Yeah.
I bet.
I
So
know.
when you aren't getting a root canal, what do you do?
I'm a teacher.
A teacher?
A teacher.
Wow. So you're going to set great standards for those kids by going and getting a root canal. Are you going to call it a root canal, or you teach a school where they actually say root?
Root.
Root. All right. That's my
Totally
kind of
root.
school. Getting the root canal, going down to the creek. That kind of thing. It's all good, right? That's awesome. So what led you to teaching?
Well, I'm come from a long line of teachers, and at first I didn't want to do it, but that's where I really found my passion.
Tell me about that passion. When you say passion, I mean, like, is it hanging out with little kids or seeing is that what you're into? Is
Is that what you're into, is hanging out with little kids?
I don't know.
Calm down. Yeah, I love being with I love helping people, and like seeing that, like when they learn things, and it's
That's awesome, because I
Yeah.
kind of do the same thing with technology.
Oh, you do?
I help the people I work with learn how to use technology better to assist them in business. Because I really believe that technology should be a tool, never a barrier for your business.
right. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Where do you work?
I work in the real estate field down in Burnsville.
Okay.
Speaking of that, do you know anybody who's interested in buying or selling a home? Why not pick it in there, right? No, or more importantly, teachers, we actually have a lot of teachers that sell real estate.
Really?
Yeah,
You do?
yes, we sure do.
Oh,
Is that something you've ever thought about? I mean, how do you live in a home now?
I do.
Right? Because some people rent, it's just a reasonable question, right? Some people rent, some people live in a home, some people do something
Own a home?
completely different. And I don't know what that is, but I was hoping to find out and you might let me know. But it turns out not so. So anyway, as I was saying, a lot of teachers make a transition into real estate because there's so much similarity in terms of connecting and understanding, and the skills you learn relating to small people are exactly the same sorts of skills you need in relating to the clients at large.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something you've ever considered?
No, but it sounds kind of intriguing.
Here's why I'm really interested. My brokerage is offering an opportunity that's free to you to get your real estate license. Is that something that'd be interesting to you?
Free?
Free to you, yes.
Wow. Yeah, you can send me more info on that.
I would love to. I have a great Val I know. She'll give you a call and she'll tell you all about it. Here's the thing that I'm finding that's really interesting, because a lot of folks have a job and they can't completely move solely away from that place.
Right.
And that's kind of scares them away from making that leap. But there's a great bridge in between that. If you were to become a licensed agent and you knew somebody who was about to buy a house, you could refer that out and start building a cushion that'll make it easier for you to transition into a different career if that was something you chose to do down the road.
Wow,
That sounds pretty cool, doesn't it?
that sounds super cool.
I like it.
Me too.
I'll get you her name.
Okay,
Sweet.
that's good. That's the thing is like that I was telling Jason Oliver this week is that it's always that like last question, like when you're talking to people, like about the real estate thing is like, have you ever thought of being in the, or know anybody who's thought of being in the field of real estate, right? And so many people are like, oh yeah, I thought about it, or oh yeah, somebody in my family is thinking about it. And then you can grow your profit share, right? Because that's the bottom line is you're gonna make money from it, right?
Well, and I think, and I really strongly, I mean, both of you guys are in a similar position where you may not, the person you're talking to may not be in a place where they can really make that jump. Yep, I am absolutely 100% into that. I'm gonna walk away from my job now. I mean, that's not something that most of us can do or choose to do or have the opportunity to do. But if you can paint that picture of how they can start moving away, you know what I mean? If you can get them in there in a referral basis and just talk, all you ever have to do is give me referrals and I will pay you.
Right.
I'll pay you to get, essentially, Keller Williams will pay you to get their license, and I'll give you money every time you tell me somebody buys a house and I go help them, right? I mean, so you're making money there, you're making money there, and that money for them, if when you paint that picture, is the money that's the bridge out, right? Because I mean, you can't do it without a bridge. You got to have a process in place, but that's the bridge out for them as well. And that's such a, I mean, I was at Red Bench the other day. We're just talking about different places and communities that we don't touch as well as we could or need to. And a lot of the communities that are in places where they're underserved, there's no way out. You can't quit the job you have to go to nothing. And so being able to provide that bridge is such an important part out of that process. And oh, by the way, if you're picking up referrals, that's a huge, I mean, you're just winning all over the place, right? I mean, they're winning, you're helping them. They're moving closer to a financial freedom and the ability to set their own life in front of them, and you're benefiting as well. And it's just so much smarter,
Right.
to make sure that you present that part of the equation.
Right.
Would you do like a full, like 20% commission, like or just a $500 commission? Or
I'm
what?
saying that if that person, if you talk to somebody and they got their license from you, it's just a split, like you would do for any referral.
Mhm.
It just send referrals my way. And if I'm paying them 25, I mean, look, if you want to, I mean, you can make whatever referrals are a negotiated item. But I wouldn't have any problem paying somebody who's a friend of mine, who I'd recruited into the business, is in my downline, essentially. I don't have any problem paying them more, even if I was in that place and I wanted to help them get out of that. And they were providing me some sort of regular referrals. Are you kidding? People pay 50% for referrals. Some places, like if you work for Chris Lindahl, you're paying 75, maybe 80% to Chris for the referral. I mean, that's nuts. So if I'm just giving somebody 25, 30% of a referral, I'm doing all the work, but I wouldn't have had that customer ever. That's just free money.
Right. I think people get hung up on that number, and they're like, well, what about this? What about that? And it's like, you don't have any business right now. So, I mean, 100% of zero is zero.
Right.
Right.
So, I mean, again, for me, I love helping other people. I mean, it's a passion, in the way that a passion for helping seniors, helping other people get to where they want to be. And if I can do that, and for me, it means I'm giving them, a bigger split. It would not bother me to set that relationship up, especially, if this was just like this elevator speech where I have with her.
Right.
And then, she ends up, joining Keller Williams. I'm like, yeah, anybody you send to me, I'll pay you 35%. I wouldn't even think twice about giving her 35%. And if I could convince her to put it in the bank, I might give her more. I mean, literally, I mean, if this is somebody I know and I could convince them that they need to bank that money for the long term and save it, because I got plenty of friends who are terrible at saving. But if any influence in that, I would be willing to do that. Now, because I'm a parent, I've learned this lesson a couple times, and I might agree to pay her 25% and then take 10%, put in an account of my own, and then later give that big chunk of thing as a huge gift to her. Because I think that, to me, that's just how I work. But there's so many pieces and elements. And what I love about this is your ability to make it your own, whatever it is, whatever element of this that you're passionate about, how you make it your own is how you succeed. And to me, that's an avenue that I'm way more likely to be successful at, where my wife, she's loves talking to people and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't mind telling jokes, but oh my God. Don't start talking to me about your goiter or something. I don't know what to do.
I get uncomfortable. Oh my God. Stop talking to me about that. Okay, Shantia, you want to go next?
Take her off.
Okay, you might be muted though. Well, not might be, you are.
Okay.
There we go.
These are some really long elevator rides.
Right. Where is this elevator going?
Hey, I'm from
Gosh.
Chicago. That was in the Sears Tower, my friend. Actually, that one's really fast. All things being equal.
Right.
So, I mean, I started writing mine with the idea of that we've been having a conversation and someone asked, well, what do you do?
Yeah.
I don't have it all the way memorized because I've been changing things. So
It's okay.
anyway, I'm just going to read it. So I'll read it how I initially wrote it, and then I'm going to ask you if I should change something. So I work with a real estate and property management company where I manage residential properties throughout Minneapolis, and I help with the purchase and sale of homes in the northern suburbs. So what's unique about my business is that it's a complete package. So if you're in the process of buying, or if you're in the process of selling your home, I work with a team of individuals that can help you prepare your home for sale. If you're buying, I can help you navigate that process. By being a realtor, I have access to properties before they even go live on the market. And if you own property, I can help oversee the functions of managing that property. So whenever you think about buying a new property, or even just going to look at something new, or you hear someone talking about buying or selling, I want you to think about me and mention me.
Yeah, good.
I'm intrigued by the opportunity to have you manage my property. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, that's good. I've been working in property management. I've been working in housing for the last 14 years, but I've been working in property management for the last 9 years. So I have pretty decent background in inspections and negotiating rents. So that would kind of fall into negotiating purchase prices
Mhm.
as well.
wow.
Yeah. That's awesome. And like to share that that history of how long you've been in it is super important, because you have that knowledge, right? And then you can use that to tell people, like I've been around it for a long time. And I mean, I feel like that's longer than a lot of the agents that have been in this
Yeah.
office.
Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
reassuring that I think a lot of initial realtors are afraid of that when they start, but your experience is real estate adjacent. So it's really not, it really is, it makes people comfortable.
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of why I wanted to add that in there, because I don't want to say I'm a new realtor. You don't want to share that information. So I felt like if I just put in a little bit of my history, that would help them feel more comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
You said you thought you wanted to change it. What were you thinking you wanted?
Well, so I didn't read the initial one, but the first part where it says I work with a real estate company and property management, I initially said I own property management, or because we started LLCs. So, but then I'm like, I don't know if I feel comfortable saying that yet, to own a company or you started a company. So I changed it to say that I work with a real estate and property management company.
I like that boss babe vibe. Personally, I own it.
I did, but then I'm like, is that something that you should be saying? You just started this LLC. I don't know. I just kind of went back and forth with it.
I
So
think
what do you think?
ultimately, there's a part there where, to Molly's point, I think you got to tailor that to your audience. I mean, that was her initial question. Who am I talking to and what does that look like? And I think there are a lot of places where I own it rings really strongly. You know what I mean? Like, I want to do business with you. You're the owner. You are empowered. You're vibrant. I want to do business with you versus, I work with, a lot of people work with things. Very few people own things. And that's, I think it's difficult when you think about something like pride.
Yeah.
And the pride of ownership, right? And I mean, you don't want to come across as being boastful, maybe. But on the other side, you should be proud. You're doing something that most people avoid, which is difficulty. And you're doing it. And you're making your way, and that is reason to be proud. So I think the right, you'll find that message plays in some places and much better in others, and just kind of feeling that space out. But I don't think you should ever be afraid of that. I think it's something you should wear like a crown, frankly.
How do you phrase it? Do you say I own my own real estate business, or?
I own a business.
Yeah.
I believe I own a business that does this.
Okay. So it wouldn't be like I own a real estate and property management business.
Yeah. I think that's wonderful. Curious what your thoughts might be, Molly.
I like the idea of owning it too, and just, but definitely it depends on who.
Yeah.
Speaking to, because I could also see like being at a conference with a bunch of other like people when they're like the questions might get a little too deep or a little too like, oh yeah, exactly who, and like
Yeah.
just in general conversation. I mean, I think women are terrible at selling themselves, and we second guess ourselves. And like to the point earlier, like men like just kind of own it. Like their identity is almost their job, right? And they don't have any qualms about. I mean, I just think of like Match.com, right? Like where women are selling themselves like right here, and then you've got this guy who's living in his mom's basement who's like I'm like the best, like you should love to hang out with me. Like he never even thought to second guess himself, and we're like, well, I don't know, should I say I own it? But do so I think I like the boss vibe too.
I own a landscaping company.
Now you pointed out
There's people out there like that. I agree. I mean, I really do. I feel like you can feel strong about that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I like
Good. I was hoping you guys would say that and wouldn't be like, no, I don't think you should say that. So it's reassuring.
Yeah, I think I was thinking about how when I do the K-Score meetings, I tell everybody that I am the productivity coach, which means I help agents who come into real estate, who are new to real estate. And I also have a team. I also blah, blah, blah. So then I also own a real estate business called True North Homes, right? Like saying that I do that on top of it. So then they know like I do real estate as well, but it's also like, what am I saying? What do I call it? And not only to them, but like to the world, right? Like I am a coach and I own a real estate business, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like that, for me, it's like that validity that I feel is important. It's the same thing as when I was a teacher and the principal was never a teacher. I'm like, you have no freaking clue, right? You're telling me to do all these things and you're running around like you're crazy and you've never actually been in the classroom, so you don't know what it's like, right? So that's that part I think that for me helps me like for the validity that I'm going through the same thing you guys are going through, right? But I've never termed it like that.
Molly,
own it.
have you ever seen that, like it's an Instagram reel, I think, of rich people versus really rich people, and there's a guy who does a whole series of them, and how rich people react to a particular thing, and then how really rich people react?
I can, without having seen it, I can guess. It's because the people who does protest too much are the ones that are like, who want to make you believe they're rich. Excuse
Right.
me, like, the really rich, you would never know.
And the whole bit is essentially, yes, the rich guy is always a jerk, and he's short with the person, like how a rich person talks to the custodian and how a really rich person talks to a custodian. And the really rich guy is actually engaged in a conversation, talking, having this conversation. And I just wanted to bring that up in context of working within the what can sometimes be the male landscape. Understand that if you've got somebody who's pushing back on, like, oh, you're an owner of a company, you know what I mean, that kind of thing, right off the bat, no, you don't want to have anything to do with that person. Because somebody who's really truly rich, who really is important, useful, and stuff like that, is going to be interested in what you're saying, because I don't know what the right way to phrase this is, but they're always looking for opportunity. They're not looking to be over you. They're looking for a way that they can see how you fit into what they're trying to do. And so when you encounter somebody who's really rich on that level, or somebody you want to know, a mentor, somebody who's a coach in that way, or something like that, they're looking to how to fit you in, not how to keep you out. And so, I would always wear that in a group of men, and even if only to discern who I wanted to know and who I didn't want to know, right? Because I mean, right off the bat, if you're starting to get goofy with this, I don't want to know you, and I can end the conversation right here, right now, because you're not who you're purporting to be. And it's not, I mean, that's just as somebody who's navigated this stuff, in a different way and stuff. But I really do. I think there's a real power in your pride, and a real power in the pride of what you're doing, and that you're good at it.
Right.
Even if you don't think you are, you're better than almost anybody.
Yeah, and believing it, right? That's
Helps.
the thing is, yeah, like,
You don't have to be a shameless self-promoter, but there's nothing wrong with some self-promoting.
right. Oh, that's me he's looking at. I am totally a shameless self-promoter. Yeah, and that's where all the affirmations come from, right? When you list those things out, and it's like for one of our classes, Bold, it'll be like, say these things to yourself every morning. Or if you have a coach, they're like, say these things, right? And you're like, God, this is dumb. And then once you start doing it, you're like, well, actually, it's true though. Like I had an agent, she was doing a lot of negative, like talk, right? And then I said, write it in a journal, like what you're telling yourself. And then I want you to read it to me. Well, she didn't like that. And so that she didn't have to totally read it to me, she started writing positive things, right? So it's the negative and the positive to like circumvent the negative, right? So she was going to a listing appointment this week, and she said, if she got the listing before she left, she goes, if I get this listing, it's going to lead to a total of 5 transactions, because I got to help this one do this, then I have to help the aunt buy this house, and then I have to, right? So it just kept going. And she said it was a long drive. And when the drive is long, she starts to have self-doubt. If it was 10 minutes from the office, she wouldn't have gone there. But she was like, oh my God, I'm starting to get negative. And then she just went into her mental notebook, right? And started just going over those things that were positive, and was like, you know what? Just like, you are good at this. They are going to list with you, right? And called me afterwards and was like, yep, she's doing it, right? And I'm like, oh my God, right? So, but having those things like where you tell yourself, because it's super easy to double time Shantia. It's easy to get in that negative headspace, and then you're going downhill, right? And so that belief and affirmation is so important. And, I think even more when we're at home, or,
I think there's something about being able to say it in public to another person,
yeah,
because you can hide from yourself, but when you have to say it to another person, it suddenly becomes a lot more real. You can talk all you want in the mirror and say, I'm good at this, I'm smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me. But at that moment, you start to own it and say it to other people, man, that is powerful. And, I mean, each of us is in a different place and different time, but I will tell you, to be able to say something like that in front of your children, if that's a thing, that's
Yeah.
power.
yeah,
That's real power. And it's a lesson that they can take as well, that, wow, yeah, this is not normal. I mean, in our culture right now, it's, everybody go work for some big company and get a paycheck every 2 weeks. And I mean, that's fine, but you ain't gonna get rich that way. You aren't gonna create the life that you dream of that way. And that's all right for some folks, but once you've made that choice that that's not right for you, being able to admit that is real power. And having your family see that is real. It's real. And I mean, later, when you get to the point that you actually bring on like an assistant, wow, I employ another human being.
yeah,
The work I do is enough to employ another human being. And I'm not saying like I can make people do stuff. No, I mean, that's real self power, the real power you have over yourself.
yeah. And I've heard, like, when we go to our conferences and I hear people say, like they say, like, what's your big motivator, or what is, I don't know, maybe it's their big why. And they relate it back to how many lives they've changed in their employees. Right. And they're like, well, I started out with one, and now I have, and it's like, I now employ 10 people, and it could be a buyer's agent, could be a seller's agent, but it could be admins, like whatever it is. And they're like, I am lucky enough to change 10 people's life every single day. And yes, that's scary, because I have to like perform to be able to have that. And, I never thought I'd be able to do that. And then the way that, I mean, HHG is a good example. So like how Holly came in and was doing like, kind of admin work. And then it just kept changing. And now it's to the point where like she created a role, and that's what she does, and then it's, well, I want to get some of the agents or people on their team want to get investment properties, right? And it's like all the things that they've been able to do because of being on that team and how the team pours into them. It's so then after hiring somebody, I was like, oh my God, I totally get it. Because like, if you're not talking to somebody every day, you're like, yeah, okay, sure, whatever. But it's like, and then she'll say to me, you gotta get busy, or you gotta do this. Like that's not, you're one closing down from last year at this time, right? And I'm like, oh my God, but yeah, to be able to help change other people's lives too, because Irene loves what she does. And she called me on Sunday and was like, I'll help you out once I'm done crying. And I was like, what? And it was because her family had all left, and her grandson, the baby grandson, who was 2, had never been to her house because of COVID. Right. And so it's just all this emotion, but then she's like, it'll be fine. I'll be fine. And then she just wanted to talk to me for 2 hours. Right. And so, but the fact that like, I can help her work through that, right, is so cool.
But
And
that happens because you own a business.
right.
You own a
Right.
business. And starts there. That might be what it is now, and that maybe that's all it ever needs to be.
Right.
But you do.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
Yeah. And it's a big deal. Like
Yeah.
I know, like Molly, you say like we're like, oh well, it's what it's whatever. Like, no, it's a big deal. And it is a lot of work, and it's the type of work that, like you said, a lot of people won't do or are scared to do. Right. And so, yeah,
It's a big deal.
it's a BFD.
Yeah.
So, all right, so before we run out of time, Molly, are you good sharing with us where you're at with your client? Because, you know, it could happen to Shantia as well, so we can talk about it.
You're talking about, I had texted Jessica wanting to know if there was any things I should be aware of or any helpful hints about working with somebody that English is not their primary language and I'm relying on a non-professional interpreter.
Mm,
Occasional, like, and so the scenario is that the interpreter is the person who's referring the business to me, so they're friends of hers. And so she's gonna introduce us on Sunday and she will be there and they're buyers. Because I looked it up, they don't seem to own property right now, so I'm assuming they're renting. And then she had called us, she called me up and then linked them in. And from what it appears to me, very little English. Like I said, nice to meet you, George. And then it was, you know, I don't speak Greek, whatever the, you know, and but there was a long, I mean, clearly like the first sentence didn't get translated. So I'm a little getting nervous because she's like, well, I won't be able to be available at all the showings. Just call me if you have any questions. So I don't know if I need to like do a Google like translator, like they do on 90 Day Fiance.
Oh, that's scary and frightening. What's worse, buying your house through an interpreter or picking your wife? I'm gonna go with picking my wife.
I'm gonna
is
go with
worse.
wife. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that is an interesting situation because,
Well, right off the bat, let's start out with a thing that they reached out to you, right? So there's
Yeah.
a certain amount of confidence. They have reason to have confidence in you. So that's a good,
Through the person referring, the one who's being the
Right.
translator is the one, yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But I mean, the referrer is, you know, I mean, she's given them reason to trust you. So,
Yes.
I mean, the first and biggest barrier you have in any, late language barrier thing is trust. And so you've at least got trust in a way that, you know, I mean, because in retail, this happens all the time where, do you speak Spanish? We don't have any Spanish speakers today.
right,
And then everyone fumbles their way through this process and it's a disaster for everyone. Because there isn't any basis of trust to even begin with. But you at least have enough trust to start a discussion about something important like buying a house.
right,
So that's a good place to be.
And
right.
I'm not worried about, I mean, I've made friends in other countries where we don't have a common language. So it's like that part I'm not worried about. I'm worried about something that's gonna get me sued later. That they will say like, well, I didn't understand this, or if it wasn't missed, like, I mean, I don't know, like, I don't know what I don't know. Like, is there something?
Yeah, so will Fanny be able to be there for the document signings?
I'm assuming so, like that part. But then I just didn't know, like, you know, is it a good idea to rely on? Granted, she's got, you know, real estate experience, of course, but I mean, not professional, but just in life.
Right,
But
right,
I just wanted to be aware of what landmines I could step on with them. I don't know their citizenship, and I know that they don't speak English very well. That's all I know. And like,
I mean, I think for like, I mean, I would just want to know for like FERPTA reasons, like to just say, okay, what is their status? Because if they ever want to sell, if
Right.
they are a FERPTA, right, then they will need to pay 30% in taxes. And like as a heads up, and if it's like, well, that's just how it is, then that's how it is. But if it's, and I don't know how that works, like, is there a process where like they're foreign investors now, but then by the time they sell it, they're not. I don't know. Like, I don't know if you can change the status or whatever. I don't even know. But
And that's exactly what I just thought of that whole scenario of like when this person, let's say I help them buy something, and then they're gonna sell it, and the next person comes along, and then that person ends up having to pay all of their tax
Right.
if they somehow, like, does that come back all the way around, like,
right.
I'm just curious, like, I'm worried about that kind of like high dollar errors,
Most of the right call.
Yeah, I think Melissa Johnson would be good. And I also think if you wanted to reach out to Amy Moser with Laura Baseball thing, because she used to do work at a firm that did only FERPTA and 1031 exchanges and all that kind of stuff. And she was in charge of it. So she would know, because I said to her once, I was like, well, how do you know if it's, and she's like, well, sometimes you have to get a letter stating that, that everything's fine. So I think that might be, and then if she could point you in the direction of like, who's the resource that I could get, use to get that information.
But Melissa Johnson would definitely be
Yeah,
and those are the sorts of things she likes to dig into.
right. Yeah, and then I think with the contracts, it's gonna be, like, and if Fanny can't come to the showings, like you'll be able to make it through those things, and then maybe you can tell them just, have Fanny say, make a list of questions that you have, and then I'll translate it for you or whatever, or you'll figure it out. And then what's the other source of like communication? Is there a way that, I don't even know, like on a phone, when you text, can you type in Greek? Like,
Well, I know you can email, I thought you can translate it in Google.
okay,
But,
okay.
I don't know about text, but
Yeah, so,
Text, you'd have to copy, paste
yeah.
kind of thing.
I'm assuming they could at least navigate addresses and stuff, that I could text them addresses and times and.
yeah,
What kind of phone do you have?
iPhone.
In the camera, there are text translating things within the camera itself.
and like when it says scan, like that, you can scan something and
You
then,
can scan words in
I think, my biggest thing would be to make sure that you just have a plan of attack, right? Like have her explain to them, okay, you're gonna look at these houses. And like MLS, like they can send you the 7-digit MLS number, right? And then you'll look it up, and then you can send them the day and time that it works or whatever, you know what I mean? Like just having a system as to how we're gonna communicate so that you can use Fanny when you need her most. So it's not like I'm using her all the time for everything. It's just, okay, we're gonna figure this out. And then if they have questions, you can ask them. And then at the end, you just tell her, I have to have you there when we go over the offer.
Okay.
Or I have to have, you know what I mean? Like,
So that should be, again, I'll check with Melissa, but like that should be enough legal coverage, like CYA, just to have Fanny there. And is there MLS? Does that translate at all? Like I'm thinking of like those auto emails. Does that,
does what did you say?
like the MLS with the automatic emails and things, does that translate at all? Do I need to intercept Google Translate? I know that
I don't
pictures
know
will
that it, I
almost
don't
look
know
weird.
that it, I know that none of the forms will ever be in anything but English.
Okay.
And as far as like a search, they might do other languages. I'd maybe go to the MLS, not YouTube, but maybe YouTube, because you could ask, or the help desk if you called them.
If you go to KWPR dashboard,
Here we go.
there are some things with MLS, like some videos.
Yep.
The link to their video library. It's more for how do I learn MLS, but it wouldn't surprise me if they had something in there too.
I feel like I want to apologize to Shantia too. I'm sorry, I'm kind of getting down in the weeds on a very specific, question. I don't want to waste your time too, but,
Well, that's okay, because there's,
No.
I mean, I have somebody else who was like, I need somebody who speaks Spanish because I don't speak Spanish enough to figure this out. And, I'm like, damn, we don't have a Spanish speaking agent in our office. Like,
These are
thought we did.
legitimate things and really go to that thing I'm talking about is how do we find talented people and get them in the office when this is not, there is a barrier to entry. There is a barrier to entry. You can't just quit your job, come work here
right.
and not be hungry if you know, and especially for, as we're trying to find diverse audiences, there's bigger opportunities out there, but we've got to be able to bridge that gap, and finding ways to do that is important because we don't have a Spanish speaker. We don't have anybody who speaks Somali. We don't have people who speak Greek, but thankfully that's a little less common. But in this area, I mean, Shakopee, we need somebody who speaks Russian.
Yeah.
we do.
Luckily, most of them speak English,
Right.
who, or know somebody who does. So you might not know that, but I mean, there's a strong community here that speaks Russian. And,
The largest community in the state is in Shakopee because of that church.
Wow.
I'm an expert in all Southwest Metro.
look at you go.
My last career was 20 years of like being connected to the Southwest Metro out of the Shakopee Hospital. So
Oh, yeah.
let me know.
Right. Yeah. So, do you guys have any other questions on anything that have come up like in the past week or since you're one-on-one or anything that you want to chit chat about?
Well, I did the fake it till you make it kind of idea. And I know that somebody just posted that's a terrible idea.
Victoria did, yes.
So, with one of my clients now, they own a condo. And now we are looking at various, like we're looking at co-op tomorrow. We've already looked at a couple of different, like assisted living continuum of care, like the 55 plus, like luxury kind of places. And it just so happens on Tuesday, I ended up scheduling two of the only, what were they called, at type A or something. And they were like, with the first one, the Friendship Manor in Bloomington was like, as I was talking to her, like asking about the referral program, and she's like, this is a type A community. I was like, yeah.
I'm type A.
Like, am I getting in the business? I don't know. And I'd never heard of that. And despite being in healthcare for 20 years, I had no idea what this was. And apparently there's only these two communities at all. And it's like a buy-in concept and stuff. And so it's just a very interesting, as I stumbled my way through and like, well, maybe I don't know as much as I do thought. Could you continue on? And
Right.
like trying to get like, like the idea that, not that I would ever not show something because I wasn't going to get, a cut out of it, but just, like if I would like to have a paycheck. So, but
Yeah.
now I will do on Tuesday, fill you in on what the two type A communities out there and our neck of the woods, what that means. Because Trillium, it looks like an amazing place. There's to go there now, but the buy-in's like $1 million. And and then you pay a monthly fee after that, but they never kick you out. Like you're there for good. Like if you get in early, then all of your care will be paid for the rest of your life. And like Friendship Manor, if you run out of cash, they will dip into their fund and then pay for the rest. Very interesting concept, yes, no?
So what is when it's $1 million, what's the upfront cost?
It's $1 million.
What?
Yeah.
Write that check to get
These
in.
people have $1 million?
Yeah, well, that's what, because I feel like Friendship Manor is going to be old school, and they're a nonprofit, which is an interesting, like, I want to know the distinctions between the two. And
Right.
so the first one, she didn't tell me the buy-in, so I'll have to wait to find that one out. The other one was a lot more open and, so,
Wow.
but I mean, it's high end.
They're type A.
I'm looking for O positive, the one for the common folk.
Well, I have a variety of places to show you that will fit that bill as well.
Oh, perfect. Oh my gosh, that's super fascinating. I mean, it's kind of like co-ops. When you start learning about co-ops, you're like, what the frick? What is
Yeah.
this?
Yeah,
Right?
that's tomorrow's lesson, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, yeah, keep us posted because I want to hear about type A.
Yeah.
And isn't that what secretaries are? Type A? Is that what they say?
Whatever detail, probably. I mean, everything's probably.
Irene's a type A. Detail oriented. Just give me the facts, ma'am, and then stop talking. Okay, so what do we have to, I'm just in the last couple minutes, I just wanted to make sure that we didn't have something coming up in the next week before our next class, group coaching. And I can't think of what's on the schedule. There is, if you guys haven't signed up for the required module for CE, it is available the last week in April. And it is something, I think they are limiting it to 50 people and you need to sign up through Minnesota, the Minnesota Association. And then just keep your eyes out if we have CE in the office. Like today we had
Fair housing.
yeah, 11 or 10 to 11:45. It was a lot about well, I have it right here. It was about owning, it's called Owning Up. It's basically about fair housing. What else?
So back to the required module, you're saying that it's being offered for free or just simply being offered?
Being offered, I believe it's $20.
That's in our office or just online?
Yep, it's going to be in our office in person, and it is
This,
right here. Okay,
No.
no, oh,
something else.
okay, this is coming up.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So it's the last week of April. If you go in the Friday newsletter, it's in there and it'll tell you the day and time, and I want to say it's the last Thursday of the month. And then, okay, so here is, you're so funny. Two absolute titans of KWPR together in the same room with something I know you want to know. By your request, Jason Oliver and Sarah Anderson will be bringing Remind to Growth Coaching Workshop Wednesday, April 20th, 2 p.m. Bring your laptops, leave with learnings. There you go. So Remind on April 20th. That's right after the team meeting. Well, not right after, but it's the day of the team meeting. And we've been talking a lot about Remind and the Remind emails. I know I went over that with Shantia. So Molly, if you want to do that, it's like when we set up our one-on-one, because you're off the calendar. I don't know what happened, but
yeah, I just got a cancellation notice. So I thought you just got sick of me. So I was like, oh, all right.
Get out.
I thought it was canceling one time, not all the times.
It seemed like-
So what the heck? But basically it's doing golden letters through email. So it's free. And you send it to the people that you have done a golden letter with, or the neighborhood that you want to focus on.
Okay.
And so we can, yeah, so just text my number and ask Irene to set up a one-on-one with you
Okay.
every 2 weeks.
Like somebody showed me, like it was on one of like our SRES things about how to remind by age and things and how to find people like 55 and plus. And so like that's
Right.
specifically a question I haven't found answered. Do you
Yeah,
think was an answer?
yeah,
Jason and Sarah?
yep.
Awesome.
I might know, but let's not make promises. But when we do our one-on-one, we'll talk about it because that'll be before the 20th. So, and then we can kind of go over it. And Dean and Taylor Allen both did 30 emails in a specific area, and they got 3 people to respond back. I mean, 1 out of 10 is amazing because usually it's 1 out of 100. So, and I believe they both got listing appointments from it. I know Taylor did. So, So yeah, it's good stuff. And I know they're accurate emails because I went and looked myself up and my email for KW is in there. I was like, how did they get that? But who cares? I mean, they have it, whatever.
I just texted Irene/you. So
Yes, perfect. Okay, ladies, it was
I
so
feel
good to
like
see you.
Cynthia wanted to say something earlier because she
Yeah.
was microphone off and then.
No, I didn't. I didn't have anything to add. I was just probably trying to function in the car. So.
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't holding the microphone the whole time, so.
Awesome, ladies. Have a good, good, I don't know if it's snowing where you are, but it's snowing here. So have a good snowy evening. Happy April.
Be safe, enjoy your spinter.
So, okay. Let me know if you want Girl Scout cookies. I still have them.
Oh my God, Girl Scout cookies. Okay. All right.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.